Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing good. I am doing just great, and here I am with the Dean Icon X, and no, this is not a Chinese clone or fake copy or anything else. This is actually the real Theo, and as you can see that I kind of like changed things up a little bit. I can never leave well enough alone. I've always got to kind of come up with something a little bit out of the box to make these guitars look a little bit nicer, a little bit more fancier, maybe a little bit more classier than what they normally would look like straight from the factory. Now, as you can see, this was black with a silver burst on the front of it. That's the stock color of this, and it's a little bit of a metallic silver, not so much the black having any type of metallic in it, but the silver does. Now I left that black and I left the burst of the silver in here, and what I ended up doing is masking off the area that I wanted to put the lace, and then masked off the pinstriping and sprayed that black, and then went over it with the lace and the silver, again giving it a nice little design that's on this body right now. Now, the one thing that I have to do with this is it's got quite a bit of orange peel on it and a few little dust pieces here and there, which is not that big of a deal because when I start doing my level sanding, that'll all come out. The hardest thing to do with a black finish, though, is after buffing it out, get this deep black finish back into this thing. That is very hard, and the reason being is because of you're scratching a black surface, it wants to look hazy after you get done, and buffing that back to a nice rich black finish isn't very easy. It's a little bit on the difficult side, but it can be done. Taking your time, watching what you're doing, and don't rush things. Just let it flow into where it's supposed to go as you're working on it. Alright, so all the level sanding has been done. I used a 800 grit sandpaper with a block, and then I used a flexible block with the same sandpaper around all the contoured areas over here around the body. This does have a little bit of an arch top on it, and I didn't want to lose it or make it all wavy. So the reason why I went with 800 grit sandpaper is because I'm going to end up re-clearing this. What I wanted to do is level sand everything and give the next clear coat something to bite into. So 800 grit sandpaper works out very well with that without having problems with chipping or anything else. But what I wanted to accomplish here is get rid of all of these tape lines. Now, when I do any type of artwork and stuff, I don't hold the can like if I'm spraying something to change the color of it. I hold it back quite a bit, and I mist the color onto the body. This way I don't get a real sharp tape line and have issues where you got different levels of paint. And trying to sand that out without losing or going through to the color or whatever that you have underneath the clear is real easy to do if you end up flooding or putting a lot of paint on a surface that you did some artwork on. And in doing so, that changes the level of the thickness of the material, so you have a low spot over here and a much higher spot over here. Misting the paint, it kind of gives you almost a uniform surface to where you don't feel that much of a tape line. And then once you clear coat it, you do start to feel it because the clear coat shrinks a little bit, but you're able to sand that line out before putting the final coats of clear on here. This way this all looks like one and not have layers on top of it. And that's kind of what I want to accomplish with a lot of the artwork that I do with a lot of these guitars, is not feel the finish. You want to make it feel nice and smooth. The bad thing is a lot of clear coats end up shrinking, and sometimes you can't get away from that. So it's nice to do quite a few clears, sand it down, and then make sure, go over it by hand, make sure you don't feel any lines or anything else. If you got a very faint line, chances are the next coats of clear are going to end up smoothing those out. So I'm not worried about that whatsoever. If there is somewhat of a faint line, like right over here is a faint line right there, I'm not going to risk going through the clear coat in order to get rid of that. That clear coat is basically protecting all of the artwork and everything else that's on this body. The back and sides have all been sanded down, and again, 800 grit sandpaper. And what this is going to do is give me a nice surface for the next coats of clear to bite into. And I also went few different directions with the sandpaper, giving it a crisscross or kind of close to it. So there's different areas that the next coat of clear can bite into that aren't going all the same direction. So the next time you will see this guitar, you'll see it with its final coats of clear and probably buffed out and polished and maybe partially assembled. So, all right, I'm going to go, you guys. Take it easy. Have a good one, and have a good weekend.